Chapter 2 had great insight to knowledge and skills and talent of leadership. Um, One of the first things is that you need actual knowledge, and knowledge is content. And even though it doesn't guarantee you to be excellent, it is impossible to try to be excellent without that knowledge. Uh, the second kind of knowledge you need is experimental knowledge. It's not necessarily taught in classrooms or found in manuals, but it's something that you must discipline yourself to pick up along the way to and retain that information. A real life example of that is I go through 5 days of training at my job. I go over every single ingredient and every single menu item, alternatives, what you can swap, what you can't swap. But it's different to do all that on paper than to do that table side when a guest asks you for something that no other guest has asked you before, or asks you about where your lettuce was grown. Those are things that they don't teach you in the manual, and those are just things you learn along the way. For an example, we have a dish called Not Your Ordinary Mac and Cheese. And constantly people ask me, what is an ordinary about your mac and cheese? And when I first started, I never had an answer for people. And I would be like, it's just the name for our mac and cheese. But along the way, I've actually learned, this is what makes our mac and cheese special, and this is why nobody else has that mac and cheese. And that's also a way to sell it. I have disciplined myself to learn those things, because when you get asked a question at a table that you don't know the answer to and you have to leave the table to go ask someone who does, it's actually quite embarrassing. So I just make sure to never ever forget that again. And to develop your strengths, it is your responsibility to keep alert for those opportunities and then incorporate them into your performance. Same thing. When someone asks you something, it took me a while to learn alcohol. People were constantly asking me, well, what's in that? What's this drink taste like? Or what is this? Is this wine full body? Is this wine oaky? Do you have any sweet wines? And it took me a very long time to learn those, because at the time I wasn't 21, wasn't able to drink, and I didn't know anything about wine. And I wouldn't have learned those lessons unless I was in the field and I was actually incorporating them into my job. And also, what I've learned definitely is don't waste time trying to change your talents. I'm good at relating to people, being a people person, and at my job, we are expected to obtain a very high level of professionalism. But, not every table expects you to be that professional. They want to see the human in you, and they want, you to talk to them. Some don't. Some really want you to be professional, but others really go out to dinner for the experience and to make friends, and it's a way that we make regulars at our job. Also a good way for people to come back and constantly ask for me, and in return, hopefully tip me better. We do simply accept our talents and refocus our lives around them. A great example of this, when I first came to college at UK, I was enrolled in the Gatton College of Business, and I was a business management major, and I learned very quickly that I am very, very bad at accounting and economics. But what I was good at was working as a group, sales, promotions, public relations. So maybe necessarily my talents weren't best on the number side of things for business, but I can definitely take my talents to the sales part, the promotion, the advertising, face-to-face communication with people. That's what I was best at. And unfortunately, I learned that the hard way, but now that I know that about myself, I have refocused my major to business communications, and I'm learning more about the communication side. Um, Also, always start by telling people what you're going to tell them. When I go to a table, I say, these are our recommendations for this evening. Our fish feature for this evening, blah blah blah. Our steak feature for this evening. It's kind you catch people off guard if you just go up and say we have this steak, we have this fish. When you go up and you say we have these special dishes prepared just for this evening, they're not on our normal menu. It catches people's attention, and if someone isn't even interested and they know what they want, then they just know they don't have to listen to me, and they can get whatever they want on the normal menu. Without underlying talent, learning is a skill. Learning a skill is a survival technique, not a path to glory. I thought that was great. Everyone can get better at something, but if you are truly just born with that talent and you have passion and you care about it, it can take you a long way. There's flaws that some activities, almost by definition, defy broken down into steps, and a skill is designed to make the secrets of the best easily transferable.